Welcome to the Brunel Business School MSc International Business webinar today. My name is Katie Moore and I work in the Admissions and Marketing Office for the Business School and will be your host this morning. Today we have Dr Frederick Mmieh, Course Director for MSc International Business, to talk about the programme and answer any questions you might have. Thank you, Fred, for joining us for today's webinar. Could you explain what your role involves as Course Director?
Well, as a Course Director of International Business, I'm involved in recruitment. I'm also involved in looking after students and looking after the program itself. So that's what I do, really. I've been doing it for a number of years. I'm happy doing it, and I will welcome any student who wants to come to Brunel University. I really welcome them here because there is a lot to achieve in Brunel University as a school, as a business school. We are within the top 10 business schools in London, and all my colleagues are research active colleagues, lecturers in the school, and obviously we will want students to come to Brunel so that we can impart to them some of the research we have done in the past and continue to do, and some of the things that perhaps they wouldn't have it anywhere else in London or in England. We are here to impart knowledge to them.
Okay, thanks, Fred. Could you tell us who is this programme for and what is the main objective of the programme and what the learning outcomes of the MSc International Business programme is?
Yeah, it is for those who are seeking career in international management or international business. It is also for those who are managers and would like to enhance their business acumen. It is for those who are also seeking to be managers, and the international business program is for those type of people who are seeking to be managers. We are here to impart knowledge of business to them so that they can become good managers in their own businesses or even in a business that they've been employed in. The main aim of the program is to provide students with a comprehensive understanding of the process of globalization in the 21st century and their implications for the business person. Also, when we think about the outcomes, the learning outcomes of the program, number one, I can give you a few of them. Systematically apply business management theories, concepts, principles, and techniques to problems encountered in international business activities in a critical, comparative, and sophisticated way. Also to provide relevant and feasible solutions to define management problems and apply sound judgment and decision-making to the evaluation. Also to plan, conduct critically, evaluate and report a significant investigation in the field of international business. This is what the program is all about, the aim and objectives of the program. There are many different objectives, of course, but I can only give you a few because of the fact that we have reached for time in this particular webinar.
Okay, thanks, Fred. So what type of assessments can students expect from your course? What type of assessments?
The assessment ranges from knowledge examinations, also coursework, written coursework, which depends upon that particular module that the student is doing. If you, for example, you're doing international business economics, there are two streams of assessment. One is coursework, which is 30%, and examination of 70% at the end of May. So in the first term, there is no examination done. It is only for coursework. In other modules that the program actually provide, the coursework ranges from the assessment ranges from coursework, and some of them are exams and so forth. Some of them are 50-50, 50-50, some of them are 40-60 as an assessment. But in all, we expect students to do coursework as well as report presentations and so forth. And that is what the program is all about.
Okay, thanks Fred. What modules do you teach on, and the coursework and exams for your module, how are they assessed and the type of questions they might get asked?
Okay, I teach International Business Economics. If I may just give a brief overview of what International Business Economics is all about. We can actually put International Business Economics in two broad categories. One is to do with international trade, which is exporting and importing of goods and services. And also the other one is to do global investment by multinational enterprises. If you take the international trade as one stream, then obviously you're looking at theories that underpin international trade and specialization. Theories such as mercantilism, absolute cost advantage, comparative cost advantage, action and all in proportion theory, the concept of free trade. These are theories that guide international business, international trade, as well as specialization. When we move on to the other aspect of the course, that is global investment, we're looking at portfolio investment, we're looking at brownfield investment, we're looking at greenfield investment, we're looking at strategic alliances, we're looking at mergers and acquisition, joint ventures, as it were. So we are looking at a whole lot of investment streams that students can actually learn in the classroom setting. Again, we're also looking at the foreign exchange market or the stock exchange market, where students learn about how currencies are converted to other currencies in the currency world. We're also looking at multinational enterprise, if you like, the multinational enterprises in the middle, and there are clusters, and these clusters are what I'm describing to you. Multinational enterprises, their characteristics, what they do in terms of investment, what they do in terms of exporting and importing. This is more or less an overview of what international business economics is about. The assessment, as I've already mentioned, is of two streams. One is coursework for 30%, and the other one is 70% examination, which is written at the end of May every year.
Okay, thanks Fred. We already have a question posted from one of our potential students. They want to know when they would get the list of study material. Do they get that at the beginning of term, or do they get that
at the very beginning of term? All the course materials will be prepared from now until the beginning of the term. So at the very beginning of the term, the course materials are posted on Blackboard Learn, which students can easily access. And so the materials will be there for them to use.
Okay. I guess if a student's really keen to do some background reading beforehand, they could go on your web page profile.
And then obviously they can access it, yes.
So they'd be able to access the journals that you've written or your colleagues.
Absolutely. There are numerous journals that I've written, and they are all on my web page, yes.
Okay, thank you. Could you describe some of the topics, projects, dissertations that your students have, that you've supervised in recent years? Have any of them done it on the module that you cover, or?
There's a wide range of topics that students, do as dissertation. For example, some students would like to do topics in international business, topics such as foreign direct investment, which I happen to be an expert in that area, as well as currencies. That's my expertise. Foreign direct investment topics, they may be thinking about penetration of MMEs in foreign markets, for example, as a topic. Some of them will be thinking about exporting, evaluating the export sector contribution to real GDP under structural adjustment program in relation to developing countries, because that's where my emphasis is. I actually hinge on developing countries, and I write my research on that basis.
Okay, thanks, Fred. Have you got any past students that you keep in contact with? Do you know where they work? Or
I've got a couple of students, really. One of them is in Ghana at this moment as a manager of the personal banking, access banking. She's working there. She finished a master's program a couple of years ago, and I saw her only recently, and I was very happy to see her working in Access Bank as a manager, and obviously she's down to promotion as well.
That's great. Okay, do any of your, are you able to explain what some of your colleagues teach on the modules within your program?
Yes, I will be able to explain that. Some of my colleagues teach international business strategy. Some of them teach international comparative and HRM. Some of them teach international management. Some of them also teach as elective. Some of them teach corporate governance and so forth. There are a host of modules that my colleagues teach on the program, and as I've already listed, some of these modules that they teach, they are experts in those type of modules, and I'm happy to work with them.
Okay, thanks, Fred. Listeners, please do feel free to post some questions throughout the webinar and we will answer them. You can see on the presentation at the moment, this building here is actually where Fred and I are at the moment. It's the home to the Brunel Business School. We moved into the Eastern Gateway building last summer, so all of our academics for the business school work in this office. There's a large theatre where some of the students have their lectures in. Also you can see the campus here. We've got the business school building down here on the far right hand corner, and you can see all the accommodation around here near the sports centre. Then in the middle of the campus you've got the main lecture centre, library and all the other student facilities, and at the other end of the campus you've got almost like a village of halls of residence. So when you come to join us in September, this is where you're going to be based, all on one campus. Okay, so we'll get back to asking Fred some more questions. I do believe we've had one from a student here. One student here, they've asked, would there be an orientation about the course once we enter Brunel?
There will be induction at the very beginning of the course. A week before the commencement of the program, there will be an induction where I, as the pathway coordinator, would tell you or give you an overview of what the course is all about, just as I'm doing now. I will tell you specifically the kinds of modules that you will be taking when actually you enter Brunel, and also tell you the credit rating that you are expected to achieve at the end of the year. So I will give you, if you like, more details of what the course entails when you come to Brunel at the very beginning of the term.
Okay, thanks, Fred. So how many hours a week do your students, should they expect to attend lectures, seminars and classes, as you've already explained?
Yes, it's about 10 hours, on average about 10 hours, but the remaining hours actually is for students, to make good use of it. So we'll have independent learning activities by students, apart from the 10 hours that they will be attending lectures per week. So per week we expect students to be here 10 hours. And attendance is very important, because it is important that students attend for the simple reason being that once you are in the classroom, you learn a lot rather than just going on the blackboard and to access, the lecture slides and so forth. You'll learn a lot because there will be class activities going on. And if you are missing, you tend to get behind. So I encourage students who are willing to come to Brunel to bear that in mind.
Okay, and how many students do you tend to have on this course?
Normally it ranges from 40 to 50 students. If I can have more. In the past we used to have more, but now I think the range is between 40 to 50 students.
So some students are taking the MSc Management and Marketing routes.
Yes, there are different routes that MSc students can actually offer. Some of them can offer accounting, marketing, supply chain management and so forth. So there are different, pathways that they can offer.
And how international is the student body in the program?
We have a mixture of students in the classroom. We have students from Asia, India, China. We have students from Africa. We have students from the EU, from the USA. So we have a whole mixture of students, student body in the classroom.
Okay, well, back to what we were talking about a moment ago, Fred. One of the students has actually asked us how many hours should they expect to spend studying independent study outside of class?
Independent study depends upon the student themselves. I mean, we cannot put time, but at least we expect them to spend considerable amount of time visiting the library, doing their own piece of research, in combination in making sure that they use their time profitably. So I cannot categorically state that they need to spend, say, 100 hours per week. It depends upon the student, how serious the student is, how determined the student is, to be able to do independent study in conjunction with what is being taught to them in the classroom.
Okay, and how approachable are you and your colleagues for the students if they need help?
Approachable. Every module tutor has got at least a couple of hours, what we call access hours, where students can come and talk to their tutors, in anything that they want to talk about, really. We are there to listen, we are there to correct, we are there to encourage, we are there to counsel students, whatever the problems might be. We know that students tend to have difficulties once they are in the university, and we are here to help them. We are approachable. They can approach us for any issue that they may have, and we'll be glad, more than glad, to help them. Excellent, thanks. Particularly when it comes to assignments, we know that some students tend to have difficulty in answering assignments. What I tend to do and what my colleagues tend to do is that in a classroom setting, we try to give them at least an understanding of what the assignment question is all about, and also how to at least approach that coursework so that they can write a good coursework. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Fred. Is the course curriculum guided by research done in the business school? For example, you belong to the International Business Research Centre. The Centre for Entrepreneurship, International Business, Innovation and into Emerging Markets, that's the group I belong to. We actually do a lot of research, and a whole range of research that we do in this particular group. Some of them embark on topics in economics, some of them embark on topics on entrepreneurship, some of them embark on topics related to emerging markets or based on emerging markets. For example, some tend to do work on China and relate to emerging market because China is an emerging market, and obviously you're doing a lot of activities, a lot of business in developing countries, and we expect students to enjoy and to benefit from this range of topics that my colleagues and I do in the group. Okay, thanks, Fred. We've had another question posted by one of the listeners.
They want to know if you could provide any more information about the assessment and exams. Perhaps for the module you teach on, you could explain how many words they need to write and the type of questions that they might, or the ones this year students have been asked to write about for their coursework.
Well, I teach, as I've already said, that I teach international business economics. The assessment is of two kinds. One is to do with coursework assignment. The coursework assignment is 2,500 word count. And the kind of topic that normally we'll be asking them is, evaluate the drivers of globalization and how they impact, for example, a developing country. Such a topic is more or less a teasing topic, but it is meant for students to be able to understand what globalization is all about. What are the drivers? Some of the drivers are economic, cultural, technological drivers that drive globalization. And we expect them to be able to relate it to developing countries. How are developing countries faring insofar as globalization is concerned? If it is to do with production, what are they producing? Are their production activity match what globalization is all about? So this is the kind of topic that I will be asking. I haven't thought really about the topic I'm going to give to students in the next academic year, but in the past that's the kind of topic students have undertaken as coursework.
Okay, thanks Fred. And when would they get this assignment given to them? How long would they have to do it?
Well, the assignment or the coursework is given to them at the very beginning of the course, in the first term or before we begin the first term. The coursework will be posted on what we call Blackboard Lane, so students can access it. We haven't done it yet, but at least we expect to finalize it by the end of August. So by the end of August, students can access the coursework and begin to practice it, even though they have not been taught globalization yet. They may have an idea. We expect them to access it and think about it. And we give them, from the very beginning, we give them about 3 months to think about it. So the coursework submission is sometime in December. I don't know the exact date because we are not there yet. But sometime in December, they will be given the coursework will be given to them at the commencement of the course, and they have 3 months to think about it. So they've got plenty of time.
So if a student comes in the induction week in September and they're an organised student, they can read the question on Blackboard.
The question.
Okay, and then they can prepare.
They can prepare themselves for it. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. We're beginning to get towards the end of the webinar, so if you've got any more questions, do please post them and we will answer them before we finish the webinar. Okay. Fred, what are the typical career pathways after this program? You've already mentioned one student that you're in contact with who works as a manager in a bank. What sort of careers should students hope to go into?
Well, they can work in non-governmental organizations. They can work in international organizations such as the IMF, the UN, World Trade Organization, which is a popular route for some students. They can work in the banks. They can also go on further education by doing academic research or postgraduate, PhD, whatever. It's up to the student really, but there are avenues that we can channel the students. And when they come to us, we are ready, more than ready, to give them references, to support them, giving them references to, to be able to work in all these type organizations. Some of them also find themselves working in multinational corporations such as IBM. I think many years ago I visited a student working in the IBM, and I was very proud to see that student there. And that is these are the kind of avenues that are open to students if they really wanted to come to Brunel to do international business.
Okay, thanks Fred. Okay, just a reminder again that we are coming towards the end of the webinar, so please feel free to post some questions. We will be finishing within the next 5 minutes. So Fred, whilst we wait to see if we have any more questions, have you always worked in international business? Could you tell us a bit about your background?
Well, I'm trained as an economist. I did my master's degree in the applied economics at London University. Went to Sheffield University to do my PhD, also in applied economics. But over the years, I have taken liking to international business. I studied it, understood it, applied it, written many different research articles on international business relating to developing countries. And I teach international business economics, which is my favorite subject. And students tend to like the subject because we teach it and teach it well.
Okay, and finally, we've just had a student post a question. They want to know when they're supposed to select their elective module. Do they do that when they start, or do they do?
I think next year, next academic year, there will be two streams of optional modules or electives that they will be asked to choose. One in the first term, and I think one in the second term, if I'm right. In the first term, there will be a host of electives that they will choose from, and they are only allowed to choose one out of the lot. I think there will be about 4 options or 4 electives, and they will choose only one elective, in the first, and then the second term they will do the same.
Okay, thanks, Fred. We've had a student post a query about contacting a current student on this course. We can, I can answer that one. We will be able to email you their details. We'll get your email address from the registration list of this this webinar. But we can, you can also access their details. We'll be posting their contact details on the home page under our contacts, our student section. We already have a profile of the student there, so we'll have their email address, phone number, so you will be able to contact that student and they will be happy to answer any queries you have. We've already liaised with students from this course and all our other MSc courses, so if you're interested in this course, please feel free to contact our current student and they will answer any queries that you may have about the course content or even student life or the type of work that they've done this year. So please do make use of contacting them. Okay, finally, Fred, are you currently working on a research paper at the moment, or could you tell us about the one you're working on, or the most recent one?
The most recent one, which I took to quite a conference, is the title is Penetration of MNEs into the banking sector, the case of Ghana. I'm looking at Ghana and I'm using qualitative data to be able to find out how they have been able to go to Ghana and be in the banking sector. I know that there is an influx of banks into the banking sector, and I would like to know why all of a sudden there is this influx of banks into the banking sector. And also I'd like to ask Ministry of Trade and Industry, and also ask people working in the governmental bodies, why is it that we have so much FDI in the banking sector? But of course, we have not seen the FDI in the banking sector translated into jobs as FDI purpose has to do. So we'd like to know the reasons for it. So that is the paper that I'm researching at this moment in time.
Okay, thanks, Fred. Well, I believe we've come towards the end of the webinar now.
Let me just encourage everyone out there. We have a very important product. This product will go down very well if you were to come to Brunel to do international business. We do things that perhaps not every university does. We are unique. The product is unique, and we want to sell it to you. If you want to come to Brunel, we'll be more than happy to welcome you and to impart to you what we know about international business. So do come.
Okay, thanks Fred. So as I said a second ago, we've come to the end of today's postgraduate webinar. We hope you found the guest speaker talk useful and informative and that you've enjoyed the session. So we'd like to thank you again for listening, and also thanks to you, Dr Fred Mmieh, for giving up your time and joining us today. I know your time is very precious and you're obviously busy marking all the exam paperwork at the moment. It's been really nice talking to you, and yes, so thank you very much again. To our listeners, thanks again for tuning in. You can remember you can contact us by a number of ways. On the presentation here you can see that you can follow us on our Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn sites. If you go onto our main website, you'll be able to click on those social media sites. You can also email us at masterbbs@brunel.ac.uk or telephone myself and my colleagues at 01895 265 910. And we have Fred Mmieh's there, frederick.mmieh@brunel.ac.uk or 01895 265 256. Okay, thanks for listening everyone. Goodbye.